Yes, guys, we meet here every Friday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard or Eastern Time, whatever it is, at in New York. I live in New York, so it's Eastern Time, 8:30-ish p.m. Right here at the Tarabuster YouTube channel, youtube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster, and the Political Voices Substack. You can find that at politicalvoices.com. And yeah, I see the chat room filling up. Nice to see you guys over at the Substack. And thank you all for hanging out. And our moderators should be joining us any minute here in the YouTube channel. Usually, I think I've surprised them because I never start on time on Fridays. And I see Twisted Nerves Painting. Nice to see you in the chat room. Happy Friday. There we go. There's Jim in the chat. Nice to see you, Jim, keeping the chat room safe. All right, let's see. What else do I say? Thank you guys for hanging out. We are here every Friday evening, 8:30 p.m., like I was telling you guys. And, we have OG Tarabuster at the YouTube channel, youtube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster. If you can become a patron, please do. I'm sorry about the e-begging. It goes with the territory. We don't have the billionaire benefactors. That's it. Well, I am hoping that when E. Jean Carroll gets her payout from the baboon, that maybe she'll become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin, or I don't know, become a partner at the Political Voices Network. Wouldn't that be great? Because I do believe, and I talk about it all the time. You can let me know if you think differently. Let me know in the chat and we can talk about it. But I really am of the opinion that we're in this boat of fascism and a divided country because of media, corporate media, because the telecommunications of 96 created our media landscape, the consolidated media, and the silos of information and misinformation. Half the country is thoroughly propagandized by right-wing bullshit. And you guys know, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do another show called The Tara Show with my co-host, the great Tara Dublin, over on the Political Voices Network. That's every Tuesday and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. This, and 11 a.m. Pacific. This Tuesday, we will have Joe Walsh on the show. He's going to be a guest. Last Thursday, we had E. Jean Carroll. This Tuesday coming up will be Joe Walsh, and he's a former Republican who used to be a tea-bagger, whatever the hell, and he's now a Democrat, a registered Democrat. And I want to talk to him about it because I want to talk to him about his mission. He says that his mission is to undo some of the damage he's done with, dividing this country. And I was watching some of his videos, and I thought, I really want to talk to him about the media. Because I believe without that, all hope is lost. It's not about, in my opinion, you let me know if you think differently or you have a different opinion, but it's not about just sitting down with your, Trumpanzee neighbors. Because that's fine. I could sit down with them, but they're in a world of misinformation. So how are you going to have a conversation with people who can't even agree on basic reality? These are people that don't think climate change is real. They don't think Joe Biden won the 2020 election. And where did they get that from? I wonder, did they come up with it on their own? Did they do their own research? No, they were malinformed. They were misinformed by right-wing propaganda, by Fox News, by a company that was hit with the largest judgment against the media company in American history for lying to its viewers. And right-wing influencers literally funded by the Kremlin to push this bullshit, to push this pro-Trump, kiss up, kick down misinformation that they knew would tear this country apart. So, how could you sit there and how could you have a conversation with somebody that doesn't have a grasp on the truth, reality, you know? It's not about, because here's the other thing that we talk about all the time on the show. If you're new to the Tarabuster Fridays, welcome. And thank you, What the Fuck Dad Shoes, for your super chat. Been really annoying. Oh, I'm sorry. Been really enjoying your content. Keep it up. I thought you were going to say, you're really annoying, your content. No. I need new glasses or something. That's funny. You're really annoying, but thank you for your super chat. No, thank you, WTF Dad Shoes. Thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your compliment and for your super chat, keeping the show going and growing, and for being here on Friday nights. We're here every Friday, and this is what I've been doing. And I think I missed one show because Tara Jr. was sick, so knock on whatever the hell this is. Let's not jinx myself here. And what was I saying? So, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah. I'm not trying to... See, here's the other thing with the Trumpanzees. Yeah. It's not about just sitting there and having a nice conversation with them. And because I just can't bear... it's tedious. Now they're all anti-vaxxers, and, where are they getting this shit from? Of course, they're being mal-informed, deliberately. But the thing is, we're not trying to hurt them. I'm not trying to hurt them at all. I'm not trying to drink their tears. I don't want to drink their tears, for fuck's sake. I'm sure it tastes like crap anyway. Ugh. It's who wants to drink the tears of a lick spittle? But I don't want to. Yeah, I'm just kidding. But we want to. What I'm hoping is that I want them to have health care. I want them to have a decent life in this blip of time that we're all sharing together. I want them to have the dignity of a secure retirement. I want them to go to the doctor if they're sick and not have to worry about having to go on GoFundMe and beg for medical care. So, while they're trying to drink our tears, this is a cult that can't even say the name of the Democratic Party, which pisses me off, as you guys know, to no end, because, it just goes to show you what they are. They have nothing to offer except little babyish taunts. And so what we're going to talk about tonight, a couple of things, I guess. And if you have anything you want to discuss, let me know in the chat. We could explore what's on your mind. What's going on in Texas, for one thing. The maladministration, the needless suffering and death. And that's what we're witnessing. Republican policies, and please prove me wrong. If I'm wrong, I want to discuss it, right? We don't want to spread misinformation here. And please, I would be pleasantly surprised if I found out that Republican policies actually worked in some fashion somewhere at some time. Because Republican policies, for all of the research that I do, I do my own research, but I always double check and fact check and think, you have to, you gotta. But everywhere Republican policies are applied, there's more needless suffering and death. Prove me wrong. I mean, that's a hypothesis. I can write a friggin' 10-page paper on it right now. But it's the truth. They're not trying to govern. That's the thing. They're trying to see, okay, here's what I believe is truly going on, is that they're not trying to govern. They really don't like democracy. They don't like the system that the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us. That system, born and inspired by the liberal age of enlightenment. They don't like that. They don't like e pluribus unum, out of many one. That is that's woke. That's practically socialism, right? They don't like promoting the general welfare over the welfare of a few. And their goal, and that's why when they talk about government, they hate government. They want to kick government in the balls and throw it down a flight of steps, drown it in a bathtub. I mean, like, what kind of sick mind comes up with these kinds of metaphors or analogies? Or I'm going to shrink government to the size you can drown it in a bathtub. What does that mean? I mean, what they're talking about is like a child, like a little baby. I mean, these people are sick. You're going to drown it in a bathtub? Hold on. This is Tara Devlin. Be right back. And for those who are new, the reason those music cues are in there is because the show is also not simulcast, but it's rebroadcast on Sunday on the Political Voices app, and I have to cut the show into pieces, and those are the cues, so we can so they can put commercials in, something like that. So anyway, just so you know, it's not really it's, as you can tell, we don't go anywhere. It's just for me to cut the show up. All right, and what was I saying? Yeah, so yeah, I was saying the drinking the tears, and then the drowning of the drowning government in a bathtub. I want to shrink government down to the size that you can drown it in a bathtub. I mean, that whole vision is so disgusting. What are they drowning in a bathtub? This is how sick they are. It's not like they could just say something normal, and of course that was Grover Norquist, right, who wanted to shrink government and drown it in a bathtub. And what the problem with the Democrats is that they don't, even back then, they didn't know how to respond to these people. I guess on some level they thought too much of the American people in a way, because the American people they really need it spelled out for them. Not everybody, of course, not you, not us, because we're all involved and politically engaged. I'm talking about, you ever see some of these people, you're like, oh shit, no wonder they need to be spoon-fed. It's not an accident that they're Trumpanzees. Of course, it makes perfect sense, but they're not, they're not the brightest bulbs. I'm trying not to be mean, but whatever. And so you have to spell it out. So when they say, I want to shrink government down to the size of, I guess, an infant that you can drown in the bathtub, or what, a bag of kittens? Is that more palatable to you, Republicans? This is how disgusting they are. Right? What are you drowning in a bathtub? Why don't you just say, I don't like government. I don't like the government that the founders fought a revolution to create. Because that's what they're talking about. Because when they say they hate government, what they're really saying is that they hate democracy. They want to drown government. They like government just fine. They just don't like democracy. That's what they want to drown. Yes, thank you, WTF Dad Shoes. Please be mean. Be mean, please. Yes, exactly. All right. I don't know. I had a moment of insanity there where I was trying not to be. It's not about being mean either. It's about being honest. And before the truth sets you free, it pisses you off. That's it. You can't be nice. You have to be honest. And that's what I'm really annoyed at Democrats for the most part, and we talk about it a lot, because they're just too damn nice, a lot of them. And it's not, stop trying to appeal to the Republicans. They're never going to get it. They will never, because on the other side, on Fox News, what they're doing is literally demonizing the Democratic Party. And like I said, they can't even say the name of the Democratic Party. And just the other day, the baboon in one of his Nuremberg rallies, the night of the day that he signed the big ugly bill into law, this abomination that will destroy it's going to kill a lot of people in red states, more needless suffering and death. And thank you, Josie Justice, for your super chat. Who's running the government? I don't know. Is it the baboon? No. The baboon has never he's never ran the government. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He doesn't want to run the government. That's the other thing. That's, when they talk about, that he's not getting his daily briefing. And on the corporate media, they'll say, "Oh, it's who's making decisions, who's asking that question, who's running the government, and how come he's not taking his daily brief?" Now, imagine, if you will, if Joe Biden didn't take his daily brief, right? Joe Biden knew what the fuck he was doing, but the baboon is, he doesn't know anything, and he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to work. That's the thing. It's this is the whole scam laid bare in general. He's emblematic of exactly who they are. All these masters of the universe who can't seem to make a buck unless they can rig the game in their favor, right? Unless they can buy politicians, corrupt government, and make sure that the working people can't do anything about it. And that's Trader Trump. He doesn't want to work. He just wants the trappings of the presidency. He wants them to play hail to the chief when he walks in a room. He wants them to say, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." He wants to tell some fucking stupid fictional sir story again. And he wants everyone to kiss his oh so fragile ass. His oh so unfit, over his head ass. He really is over his head. But that's the Republican way, You can't, it's pathological, really. They need help. But, I don't know. We have a lot of work to do. And I believe it starts with the media. It starts here. We have a problem that half the country is consuming absolute bullshit. And it's true. Well, let's get into what's going on in Texas, because that is kind of a case in point there. So the baboon gave a press conference today. I don't know if you saw it. And, it's barely stomachable. I have high blood pressure personally, so I gotta watch myself. There's only so much I could take listening to the baboon. But let me see. Let's play a clip where... Oh, here it is. I'm going to have to play it off the screen because I didn't grab it. Sometimes I grab the clips if I have the time. Other times, I just can't grab it. It's me. I'm a one-man band here. So, and this is how it is. This is the liberal media, We don't have the big billionaire benefactors, and we just have each other. So I know you guys are very... that's the... you guys are great. You don't expect all the, bells and whistles, I guess. You just want the truth here. And that's really what's most important. All right, well, here's the baboon.
Well, I think everyone did an incredible job.
Of course you do, don't you? Hell of a job. Heck of a job, Brownie.
1 in 1,000 years.
Uh-huh.
And
bullshit.
I just have admiration for the job that everybody did.
Sweaty orange carcass.
The only bad person would
ask a question just like a bad
that.
person.
I don't know who you are, but only a very
go fuck yourself, baboon.
Would ask a question
evil.
I think this has been heroism.
You piece of shit.
Really, the job you've all done. It's easy to sit back and say, "Oh, what could have happened here?"
Oh, how dare you!
Maybe we could have done something differently. This was a thing that says never happened
nobody's
before.
ever seen, right? Nobody's ever seen. That's an evil question. Why would you ever ask a question? Why would the party of personal responsibility ever take responsibility? Ever look in the mirror at all the disasters they create? Hold on. This is Tara Devlin. I'll be right back. And we're back. See? And that's an evil question. Not as evil as all the needless death, though, right? Not as evil as that. Well, let's go through it. How the problem is that every time Republicans get hold of government, everywhere that their policies hold sway, there is more needless suffering and death. And that's why, when I see Greg Abbott sitting there too, it really is so offensive.
I think everyone.
Let's see, can you see him there? Yeah, that he's the guy that was in office when the Uvalde massacre happened, and the people of Texas, they just keep voting for this guy. More needless death. How much do you hate yourself, or have to hate yourself, to continue to vote for people that have no... They wouldn't pull a hair to make your life better. They don't believe in government. Excuse me, let me rephrase that, because they do believe in government. They believe in authoritarian government. They believe in fascist government. Kiss up, kick down, I got mine, sucks to be you. Government of the haves, a very small pool of rich people who run everything, who own everything, and lord over the large pool of exploitable poor that they ride to the bank without apology. And that's the system that the founders fought a revolution to overthrow. That is the system that the liberal age of enlightenment is the antidote to. This country is supposed to be the antidote to the very system that the Republicans are reestablishing. So make no mistake that they are not just rolling back the New Deal and the 20th century, for Christ's sakes. They're rolling back the American Revolution. Oh, yeah. And that's why I could psychoanalyze them all day. They're sick. And they reveal themselves when they think they're being cute and clever, drinking liberal tears. When Republicans say, oh, they're doing it to own the libs or drink liberal tears, I don't understand why the Democrats don't push back and say, well, if you're drinking the tears of your fellow Americans, you're not a patriot. That simply means you hate America. These people love to wave the flag, but they wouldn't give a shit about anybody else but themselves. And that's simply not patriotism. The root of patriotism means fellow countrymen. And therefore, you can't call yourself a patriot while turning your back on your fellow countrymen. And they do it all the time. They will leave you behind every time. That's the Republican way. And the baboon is just upset that he has to put on a show now. He has to be dragged off the golf course where he was sucking on ice cream, because that's what they were doing when the parents of the children who were swept away in the floods that they weren't warned about, thanks to Republican cuts. It's not just Trump cuts. I mean, this is Doge. This is the Republican mission. When they asked the baboon to... Are you going to cut FEMA? What do you think? Oh, well, FEMA's working right now. We'll talk about that later. See, it's always easy to destroy, and that's the only thing that Republicans can do. But as soon as something happens, of course, you need government. What else does government do but something like this? It's supposed to help the American people. It's supposed to promote the general welfare, but they want to put everything to the states. See, this is Trump's... It's not just Trump. It's the Republicans. They're always like, oh, states, everything to the states, unless it's a blue state, which is... And I'll get to that, too, because the blue states are the only states that are actually functioning and have to throw these red state ingrates a lifeline every single time. And these people, that's why it has to be pointed out, because they don't have the decency, the manners, the maturity to say thank you to us. Instead, they go after everything that actually makes the blue states function. Our education systems, our social safety nets, our diversity, our ability to function in a system that, a multiracial liberal democracy, for Christ's sakes. So, but, to call these people evil, right? You ask a question, and this is what, of course, this is the this is Trump's fallback. You're evil. How could you ask a question like that? Whenever anybody, tells the truth, confronts him with the truth, asks him a question that challenges him to do his fucking job, to act like an adult. But that ship has sailed. He is not capable of being, an adult. He's not capable. He's unfit, and everybody knows it. This is what's so disgraceful too. The whole army of enablers that surround him. They're the worst, really. They are worse than he is, because he is what he is. A parasite is a parasite. A fish has got to swim. A bird's got to fly. And Traitor Trump has got to be Traitor Trump, the waste of human DNA, the most useless, most vile, unfit so-called president to ever stain the White House. Oh my God, what did we do in a past life to have to share the same air with somebody like that? I don't know if you can hear Ray. Ray, come on, Bobo. It happens. Doesn't it happen, guys? Every Friday about this time, Ray starts singing the song of his people. So, yeah. Anyway, but that's how what Trump is doing, of course, is he is training the press corps as to which questions he prefers. Don't ask me that question. You're evil. Right? But, Republican policies, let's get to the point here. They always come home to roost in needless suffering and death. And that has to be something that the Democrats aren't afraid to talk about, or to simply state. It is the truth. They always come home to roost in needless death. Texas Republicans rejected, before this disaster happened, because this is one thing that the baboon keeps saying, nobody's ever seen, this is unprecedented, it's the floods of a century, of 2 centuries, of 3 centuries. No one would have ever had you couldn't prepare for something like this. It's impossible. Make no mistake, yes, you could prepare. Not that the flood would not happen, but we could even blame Republicans for the frequency and and how the climate disasters, how natural disasters are getting more frequent and more fierce because of Republican policies. And what did Traitor Trump do? In the first, it's not even 6 months into this maladministration, and they've rolled back with the big ugly bill all of Joe Biden's climate progress, which was minimal, to say the least. And, of course, those are jobs too. But, Republicans don't set us up for success. That's the other thing. They set us up for failure. Why? Because they hate this country. I'm sorry. And, everything with them is a projection or a confession, of course. But when I say, what do you hate? What do you love about the country? That's what I would love to ask a Trumpanzee. What do you love? When you say you love America, when you're chanting USA, 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 what are you talking about? What is it that you love? Because you certainly don't love the general welfare. You certainly don't love that, the nation of immigrants. You certainly don't love our diversity, which is what makes America so unique. And Republicans of yesteryear used to understand that. Remember the clip of, what's his name? Ronald Reagan, their saint. Well, he used to be their patron saint. Now it's Traitor Trump. Patron saint Ronald Reagan, discussing how one of the greatness, what makes America great are immigrants. How we are a country that's forever young, that we attract talent from all over the world, and that is the truth. So Republicans, that concept is way over their heads. They just don't like other people. They're incapable of functioning in the system that the founders created for us. I mean, it is what it is. This is a nation of immigrants. You know, one of the charges against King George in the American Revolution was that he was limiting immigration, because if you're not a Native American, you had to come from somewhere. Republicans simply don't like some of the places where our fellow Americans come from. Hold on. So, let's see. This is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. If you're on the YouTube channel, thank you. YouTube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster. And thank you for hanging out at the Political Voices Substack. That's awesome. I see the chat room's pretty filled up there too. So thank you guys. Keep on. We're here every Friday. And yeah, there's no days off in fascism. So just letting you know. Where was I? Where is this? I'm just trying to find this because I have it all written down. Beep, 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 beep. Oh God, there's so much. There is just so much. Republican policies always come home to roost in wait, hold on. Hey, get off him. I should have put them in the bedroom. It's Friday night for the cats too. The party of personal responsibility takes no responsibility for the needless death. So, okay, let's see. Millions of Texans. Wait. Sorry, guys. Hold on. That's why I need a producer. Become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. Or, subscribe to the Political Voices Substack. All right, here we go. I got it. So the catastrophic flooding in Texas. I'm just getting the numbers here. Unprecedented rainfall, up to 20 inches of rain. Of course, these things are going to happen. But there were the Republican policies made the suffering and the death worse. For example, there were the critical failure in local warning system. Is that how you pronounce it? Kerr County, Kerr. Kerr County, Kerr. Okay, Kerr County, the epicenter of the disaster, had absolutely no flood warning sirens in place, despite years of discussion and repeated requests for funding. Local officials had considered but ultimately rejected installing a comprehensive warning system due to cost concerns, of course. Why? Because this is the thing. It's like when Joe Biden finally made Infrastructure Week not a laugh line, but he brought Infrastructure Week to fruition, passing the Infrastructure Act. The majority of funding for infrastructure projects and revitalization went to red states, poorly run red states. Why? Because the people who pretend to represent their constituents in these poorly run red states do fuck all for their constituents. They don't care. I mean, if you got to spend money to fix up a bridge, to keep, do maintenance on your infrastructure. That's money that you could give to the rich, to your rich benefactors, to make the rich richer and keep people in their place. And how do you what's a lot less expensive? The bathroom bills, making sure that trans people, less than 1% of the population, can't pee in a public restroom. That's what Republicans do in their communities they pretend to represent. They don't just destroy or let the infrastructure crumble. They destroy the minds, the souls, the morality of the people they pretend to represent, because they do nothing but but divide their constituents. They give them people to target and hate and pour their anxieties on. I'm sorry, Republicans, if you're just passing through here and, I don't know, you're going to send me some nasty, poorly spelled letter, I suppose, or email. Save it, really. But it's the truth. You're not getting anything for your vote except hate. Let them eat hate. That is the Republican mantra. And they count on people being divided. They need it. That's why they cultivate it. And in Texas, every time, it's really the truth. Now, this is the other thing, I talk about with the Democrats and the messaging that they need to continue. They really need to listen to this show and listen to the Tara Show on Tuesdays and Thursdays on the Political Voices Network with myself and Tara Dublin, because we're, giving them the talking points to run with. And in order to get this country back, we're going to have to change the hearts and minds of the Republicans, of the people who continue to vote for their own demise. And it's sad. And how do you do that? You don't do that by giving credence to the policies that they continue to vote for, the policies that actually kill them. There's, you don't do that. You have to wake them up from their stupor. So when you talk about a red state, you have to add the qualifier, poorly run red state. And point it out. Like when Nancy Mace and all these other, Nancy Mace. Who's that other one that was, the one with the pajamas. That was Nancy Mace, right? Every single Republican and Lisa Murkowski, for example, we were talking about this the other day when Lisa Murkowski voted for the big ugly bill, and despite the fact that her state is the most federally dependent state in the nation. And I didn't hear any Democrats or even corporate media pundits pointing that out. And why? Why are they the most federally dependent? For every dollar the Alaska people, whatever, pay into the federal treasury or pay in their taxes, they receive $2.60 to $3 in return. And Lisa Murkowski, because I got mine, that's the Republican way, she sold out her constituents for, she got them a Band-Aid for the bleeding artery that is the big ugly bill. And it's really, they're still gonna suffer. But no one had the decency, I guess, or whatever. They just didn't want to point out. I guess maybe it would be too impolite to point out that Lisa Murkowski presides over a state that is the most federally dependent of all the poorly run red states. I mean, every single red state is at the top of all of the negative measures. So they excel in poverty, like everything that sucks they're good at, but all of the positive measures they slip lower and lower on the ladder. That has to be pointed out. It's so sickening to me, because these red states are literally at war with the rest of the country. Make no mistake, they have been inflicting this tyrannical minority ideology on us for years. And I'm sick of it, frankly. I'm sick of it. It has to be pointed out. They're going after California. They're going after New York. They're threatening. I actually heard, what's her face? One of the, Linda McMahon saying that, or maybe it was Christy. No, it doesn't matter. They were all disgusting. Saying that, oh yes, it was Linda McMahon, because she was saying that the rest of the country should adopt Alabama's school, policies or education policy. Alabama's at the bottom of education in the country. So this is what we're dealing with. It's a delusion. And I guess if someone from Alabama hears that, and the Republicans on Fox News and all that, they might think, because they're being malinformed, that Republican policies are wonderful. They're just brimming with success. Everything is trickling all over. There's so much trickling going on. It can't be stopped. But that's not the truth. So, okay, let's see. To get back to the poorly run red state of Texas. So they missed the alerts. The county had technology capable of sending emergency alerts to all cell phones in the area, but the system was not activated before or during the early hours of the flood when it could have saved lives. And then, of course, local authorities depended most entirely on the National Weather Service alerts, which were sent out in escalating language, but many people did not. They reported that they didn't receive it, or they didn't believe it, the severity of the warnings, because there were no local government alerts. And the fact is that Trader Trump and his once best friend, the unelected South African sociopath parasite, Elon Musk, made massive cuts to the National Weather Service. Hold on a second. And, okay, wait, hold on. I'm looking for this tweet. Earlier, I was looking on Twitter. Sometimes I go on Twitter. Twitter is a cesspool. I'm sure you know that. It's a safe space for Nazis. And it's disgusting. Like nobody's ever seen. And where the heck is it? Oh, here it is. Let me show you guys. Beep, 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 beep. Where is it? I have to change this. Many buttons. Many buttons to push. Become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. All right. So this fucking thing, these Trumpansies, because here's, we just played the clip where he's like, you're evil, you're a bad person. And here comes the inevitable Trumpansie, or it's hard to tell if it's a Trumpansie or if it's a Russian bot, but that's what's all over Twitter. And here's, making excuses, of course, for the failure of this maladministration of the Republican policies. And this, whatever it is, World Gone Mad Twitter account writes, the warning system worked like it always does, and the weather center was overstaffed. We now have a bunch of Alex Joneses dancing on the graves of little kids like Sandy Hook. And it really it really pissed me off. It offended me. And I wrote back, keep Sandy Hook out of your mouth, you pathetic Trumpansie lickspittle. And it's so vile to me how they don't give a shit about Sandy Hook either. They don't give a shit about Uvalde. They don't care about needless death of toddlers, of children, of adolescents, of young adults, of middle-aged people, of the elderly. They don't care. At what? From cradle to grave, they don't give a shit about you, unless you were born on third base thinking you hit a triple. But all I had to do was look it up. Was the weather center overstaffed? No. It was not overstaffed, as you could see. Here's doing my own research. Wait, I'm trying to just make it so you could see it. I don't know why it's not fitting the whole screen. It is what it is. All right, I'll just read it. The Trump administration's budget reductions led to the loss of about 600 National Weather Service employees nationwide, with some offices losing more than 40% of their staff, and several offices ceasing 24-hour operations and critical roles remaining unfulfilled. So no, it wasn't overstaffed, but this is what they're saying too. Trader Trump is saying this. Kristi Noem is saying this. Contrary to claims of overstaffing, the National Weather Service offices responsible for the region were operating with significant vacancies. The San Antonio/Austin office, for example, was missing key roles such as a permanent science officer and a warning coordination meteorologist. The San Antonio office lacked a senior hydrologist and a meteorologist in charge. Well, what could go wrong? And the other thing, by the way, guys, I don't know if you heard or saw, Kristi Noem is of course useless as the rest of them. They don't know what the fuck they're doing, to quote Trader Trump. And she has this directive at the Department of Homeland Security that every purchase above $100,000 needs to be personally approved by this cosplaying pathetic excuse for a human being who is a puppy killing, goat killing sociopath. So when that is why the rescue services that she was in charge of didn't go into operation for 3 days. And it's because she didn't approve it. So I mean, how you talk about bureaucracy, right? I thought that they were all about waste, fraud, and abuse. The Department of Government Efficiency. What's so efficient about needing someone at this woman who is more busy, I guess, putting in expense reports or getting the receipts for every goddamn costume that she wears? They're more interested in putting out Instagram videos than they are in actually doing the job. Because that's all they do, guys. It's not, we've talked about it before. It's not a secret. They don't care about governing. They want it's all performative. It's an illusion of governing. And to talk about bureaucracy, I thought they hated bureaucracy, right? Everything had to be efficient. This is the chainsaw of bureaucracy. Well, what is it that the head of the department has to okay every purchase over $100,000 in the middle of a crisis? Doesn't that seem, at least, in the very least, inefficient? When lives are at stake, when time is of the essence, these people suck. They don't know what they're doing. And God help us. And that's why, I have to keep saying it. Sometimes it hits me when I think. Because, the baboon is the baboon. These are horrible people. We knew what he was going to do. He said it. But yet, so many Americans voted for him anyway. How dare you? Shame on you. That's why I'm going to sit in a room and be like, why, you get what you voted for? You're happy with your decision? How dare you? Shame on you. The only question is, what's wrong with you? You saw the first maladministration. 1 million dead weren't enough for you? Injecting yourself with bleach? That wasn't enough. Right? Turning America into a land of mass graves. He so botched the pandemic. We had the worst response, the worst death rate of every other modern nation. That's because he sucks. They don't know what they're doing. They don't want to work. And at that time, too, he was like telling the governors, find your own PPE, find your own ventilators, right? Because, what the fuck is he going to do? What is he going to do? That means he has to work. He's got to do so. He doesn't know what he's doing. It's ridiculous. And for people to think that this serial bankrupt con man is a great businessman because he played one on reality TV, shame on you. Really, shame on you. And I swear, what it was like when he was elected again, that's all I kept thinking. Shame on you. I will not forgive. I will not forget. And unfortunately, I knew, as we see, good people will be hurt too. These people, Trumpansies, they never see the light unless something affects them directly. You know, they're selfish. This is another thing. When we get this country back, guys, there has to be a reckoning, for real, where we have to teach young people that selfishness is not the highest of human existence. You know, being a billionaire isn't the pinnacle of humanity. These people have it all backwards. But you know, I wish that's why I always say I wish that they were the Christians they purport to be, you know. Then we wouldn't have to fight them so vehemently over basic humanity when they have none. And this is why, you know, they're talking about, Christy Nome. Oh my God, should I show you these videos? Let's see. Do I have it there? Oh, here we go.
I'm extremely grateful for God's hand in that whole situation because hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people were saved.
How dare you? Oh my God. Everybody's praying. That's all you could do. Right? Right, Mike Johnson?
And federal resources have just poured into that area. Is there anything more that can be done congressionally, legislatively to help these folks?
In a moment like this, we feel just as helpless as everyone else does.
Helpless.
I talked to my colleagues there in Texas,
Piece of
Chip
dirt.
Roy and August Pfluger, whose families, you know, that's Chip's district. August's daughters were at the camp. We
like
also
you
had Bev
care.
Carter of Georgia had grandchildren there. It touches so many families, and all we know.
And that's the reason you care. It touches Chip Roy's family and someone else's family, and you just can't muster concern otherwise unless it affects you directly. Hold on. This is Tara Devlin. All right.
What to do at this moment is pray. Every available resource. Betty Carter of Georgia had grandchildren there. It touches so many families, and all we know to do at this moment is pray.
All you know.
Available resource has been.
All you know how to do at this moment is pray. Well, we didn't hire you to pray, Bubby. We hired you to legislate, to pass legislation to improve the lives of the constituents. See, that's how it's supposed to work in a constitutionally limited democratic republic. We pay our taxes, and our legislators, our representatives, we vote for them, and they go and they come up with the budget. They come up with legislation that is supposed to equitably distribute the tax money, so we have a functioning society that works for more than just the 1%, right? That's what's supposed to happen. We don't hire you to pray. If we want people to pray, we'll go to church. That's how useless they are. All we can do right now is pray? No, bitch. You're the federal government. You're third in line to the throne here, booby. All you can do is pray. Well, I know you're an Article 1 guy. That's what he keeps saying, Mike Johnson. I'm a real Article 1 guy, as he's giving Traitor Trump the powers of a king. Traitor Trump is, you know, everything that he's doing, he's with the tariffs and all, you know, they just acquiesce. They just give him this power. He's not supposed to have it. But that's Article 1 guy, Mike Johnson. None of these people want to do their jobs because they don't believe in government, right? They want to drown government. They want to kick it in the balls. They want to, and then they want to, you know, sneak up behind it and garrote it. That's what they want to do to the government that the founders fought a revolution to create. They put their, they literally wrote it down. We pledge our lives, fortunes, and sacred honor to each other. That's so woke, isn't it? Ain't that woke? Pledging your life, fortune, and sacred honor to each other, and not pledging it to Elon Musk or Trader Trump or Jeff Bezos. I am so sick of it. But worse than that, the country is sick from it. And thank you guys for your super chats. The super chats are it's getting out of control in there. Thank you, WTF Dad Shoes, for another super chat, number 10 super chat. Damn, kid. Thank you, Jim, for your super chat. Yay, Dad Shoes. A super chat to celebrate the super chats. You're right. WTF Dad Shoe says, I'ma keep these coming. This channel needs to grow. You're right. I agree, kid. Sorry, I'm biased. I have 2 redheads here at home. Oh, okay. Well, you got good taste, kid. It's a little hot in here too. So who said that on the chat that it's hot? The apartment's hot too. Let's see what's going on Substack. How you guys doing? Everybody good? No chats on Substack, but I could see you all in there. All right. Nice to see everybody. What were we talking about besides, well, oh yeah, how they all suck. Yeah. Where was I? I don't know. We got a lot of work to do. Right? It seems so. That's why I am looking forward to Tuesday. Hold on a second. When we speak to Joe Walsh, former Republican Joe Walsh, because I want to talk to him about what we are talking about here. We have, the reason, okay, as we know, I don't know, I don't need to repeat myself, because I was going to say, the reason we're so divided and we're so up against the wall with these fascists is because of their, they're consuming misinformation. And that tweet that I just showed, where is it? Is a case in point. Right? This one here, where was it? Not that one. Where he's, the place is staffed and everything was wonderful. Let me see if I can find it. Beep, 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 beep. Beep, bop, boop, bop. Hold on, guys. Oh, there it is. See, where's he getting this from? The warning system worked like it always does, and the weather center was overstaffed. Well, they're getting it from Fox News. They're getting it from Trader Trump. That's what he keeps saying. Well, it was not just... there weren't staffing cuts. It was overstaffed. That's what they say. They simply believe the lies. And Trump knows, when you don't have the truth, you just lie. Everything that comes out of his mouth is a lie. Like the big ugly bill, for example. The big ugly bill, they're not, he's talking about no tax on tips and all the other things that, wait, hold on. Where is it? Trump lies. They're just lying about, here it is, the recent tax legislation, I'm talking about the big ugly bill, promoted as this big win for Americans. It's not a big win for Americans. It's a big win for billionaires, as usual. And I would have to say sociopathic billionaires, because if you're, isn't enough after a while? Clearly, these people have no shame. Like Jeff Bezos. Wouldn't you be embarrassed to be Jeff Bezos at this moment? They're caricatures of themselves now, and they have no shame. I would be embarrassed. If I was that rich, I feel that it would be embarrassing to me to have all that money and know that people are hungry, that someone has to beg on GoFundMe for medical care. Imagine having the power to really make a positive difference on Earth. Instead, you throw this ostentatious, disgusting, gaudy wedding for you and your spitting image puppet wife. Come on. But these are the people, right? That Republicans work for. They don't work for you and me. That's what's so disgusting about them. I wish they were the Christians they pretend to be. Mike Johnson? How dare you? How dare you call yourself a Christian? Their Christianity is limited to they have one holy obligation, and that is gay bashing. Or LGBTQ bashing, trans bashing, gay bashing. That's it. That's the only holy obligation in Republican Christianity. The expressed instructions of the Savior they pretend to worship, that's woke. That's, too much. That's too much, I guess. You got to find your bootstraps, booby. But the tax legislation where hold on a second, I'll start when the music stops. Hold on, we'll be right back. This is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. So let's see. Of course, everything is for the American people. So the big ugly bill, they had their claims, they're eliminating taxes on Social Security, overtime, and tips. No tax on tips. Of course, the devil is in the detail, or details. So he, of course, repeatedly vowed to eliminate all federal income taxes on Social Security benefits, but the new law doesn't eliminate taxes on Social Security. It introduces a temporary deduction for seniors age 65 or older, which applies to all income, okay? Not just Social Security. So it's not no tax on Social Security. So many low-income seniors already pay no tax on their benefits because they're poor. It's yet another giveaway to people who have more money that they will never spend in a million lifetimes. And these are people that are they're dangerous, they're detrimental, their very existence is a threat to democracy. And that's the other thing, and we've talked about it before, how now there's back in the day when, for example, what's his name, Bloomberg was running as a Democrat in the Democratic primary, and at the Democratic debate, Chuck Todd asked Bloomberg, it was Bernie up there, Hillary Clinton, Bloomberg, I forget who else was up there at the time. I think Pete Buttigieg was up there. And Chuck Todd asked, Bernie Sanders thinks billionaires shouldn't exist. Mr. Bloomberg, should you exist? And what a way to ask that question. And we hear it now. The corporate media pundits are they're posing this question, like with the election in the primary of Zohran Mamdani, which we'll get to in a minute because the Democrats are attacking him, of course, the fake-ass Dems. And the way that they're phrasing this question, they keep asking, do billionaires have the right to exist? It's sort of like, Israel. Does Israel the right to exist? Does Israel have the right to exist? Do billionaires have the right to exist? What a disingenuous question that is. What a way to phrase that question, as if being a billionaire is somehow inherent to your identity. That you were born a billionaire. It's sort of like, you're gay or you're not. Do you have the right to exist? It's not, it's some kind of it's just you can't help being a billionaire. Do you have the right to exist? Do billionaires have the right to? It's as if they are an oppressed minority, right? And they're the victims. Just it's right out of any fascist playbook too. The oppressor, it takes on the mantle of the oppressed. So isn't that we should all feel pity on the poor billionaire who can't help it. They can't help what they are. Should they exist? And anyone who questions whether a billionaire should exist is questioning humanity. It's like a crime against humanity to make any billionaire not a billionaire. It's absolutely disgusting, though. No, billionaires shouldn't exist. In fact, they are a threat to the society, to the country, to the government that the founders fought a revolution to create, and the founders understood that. What they talked about, they didn't call them billionaires at the time, but they talked about wealth, how they could ensure that this fragile democracy, this fragile constitutionally limited democratic republic that they created, how it could be sustained with the threat of concentrated wealth always nipping at its heels. And Thomas Jefferson proposed, progressive taxation. That's how we have to tax these the bloated fortune, as Teddy Roosevelt called it, into reasonableness. How you tax them so they can't grow to the point where they can challenge and threaten government itself. But we're far past that point at this point. And when we get this country back from these nefarious forces, guess what? Billionaires shouldn't exist. That's the truth. And it used to be understood. The American people, at one time, it was commonly understood that the, concentrated wealth, it's like Justice Louis Brandeis said, we must make our choice. We can either have concentrated wealth in the hands of a few, or we can have democracy, but we can't have both. And, nothing very radical about it at all at the time. But and now, so we go from a media understanding this to a degree, right? Not every, of course, not every newspaper of Teddy Roosevelt's day agreed with him, but he had no apologies for being the trust buster, for being somebody that called for taxing the bloated fortunes down to reasonableness, down to size, because it's patriotic. It's commonly like the estate tax that the Republicans have been going after for years. They want it completely eliminated, and they continuously celebrate it. I remember Paul Ryan just pining about the estate tax, and when they whittled it down. So, I have you guys are talking about how you can support the show. I do have a Venmo too. You guys are so nice to me. I'll put that up there. But what was I saying? So the people after the first Gilded Age understood that the estate tax is a patriotic tax that prevented the development of an intergenerational aristocracy. We have to get people to understand this now. Now, what we're up against because of our malinformed half of the country, I hear Republicans, all the time, average Joe Republicans who are living paycheck to paycheck, which is not middle class, by the way, that I hear all the time these people just, pining for billionaires to trickle on them. Praising billionaires and wanting to ensure that they pay no taxes. Let's keep those taxes as low as possible. I told you guys before, but I know there's a lot of new people here too, that you guys know I'm in recovery. So, and one of the people that I know in the rooms of recovery, I should say, I haven't seen him in a long time, but because he lives on Staten Island. I used to live on Staten Island. Thank God I got out of there. And but he's on disability. He's on Social Security disability. He's got HIV. I mean, you'll never know who this person is. I'm not breaking his anonymity or anything. And he's a big right winger. I'm sure he's a Trumpanzee at this point. So he's on Social Security disability. He's on Medicaid. All right. And he never missed the opportunity to scream and yell and rail about liberals. Well, guess what, booby? You wouldn't even be alive without liberals. Republican paying for your medication, keeping you alive. And he was the one. I remember having this like Twitter, whatever, not a fight, like a debate. And he was so adamant, about the rich not having to pay taxes. That, well, no poor guy ever gave me a job. Well, guess what? You don't even have a job, honey. You don't work. You're on disability. It's the cognitive dissonance is astonishing. And the problem that somebody like that doesn't understand, and he was always going on about liberals and Democrats and all that. But the fact that somebody like that doesn't understand that he wouldn't even be alive without Democrats is a tragedy. Is an example of the fact that Democrats better get their messaging game in gear. They better stop being apologetic about, telling the truth about Republican policies. And why not tell this guy? I would say things to him in a nice, roundabout way. Like, you wouldn't even be alive, honey, without Dems. But they don't have, did he ever say thank you? No. Well, maybe. I haven't seen him in a long time, but maybe he's seen the light now. We'll see if he lost his Medicare, or maybe they'll put his ass to work, get those work requirements, or who knows what's going on. Yeah, because, all right, and just speaking of the Democratic Party, what I want to talk about too, what's really irritating, what time is it anyway? Let me look. Where? Oh my goodness! We only have a few more minutes with the progressive voices people, and not the political voices people. So the show will continue until, what time is it? 10:30, and but we will lose the progressive voices audience in about beep bop beep boop. I don't know, 10 minutes maybe. Well, anyway, I'm just letting you know. So when it seems like the show is going to end, it's not ending. I'm faking it. I'm faking you out there. So, but what's really getting on my nerves is Democrats going after Zohran Mamdani. Let me show you this tweet. Where is it? It's freaking hot in my apartment. And it's bothering me. Where is this guy? Oh, here it is. Okay. Boop. Okay. Boom. Button. Push that button. This guy, Dean Phillips. He's, and there are other Democrats are saying that Mamdani is not a Democrat. Okay. So Dean Phillips, he's one of them, and he's having an argument now. There's some pushback where I don't know. Do Democrats not want to win elections or something? What is so horrible about Zohran Mamdani's platform? Right? They're saying he's an anti-Semite because he doesn't, he said he didn't, what was it? He didn't condemn some stupid phrase or something. And it was, of course, once again, it's not like he was repeating the phrase. He just said, I don't even know what it is, to tell you the truth. Let me see. Let me look it up. And it's just another cop-out, though. He doesn't support terrorism. He just doesn't think that there should be children starving in Gaza, that there should be, indiscriminate bombing, and that there shouldn't be famine and kids dying in hospitals because they can't get enough food shipped into this completely segregated zone that's been under attack for years. But questioning the policies of, Netanyahu is not synonymous with being an anti-Semite. It's such a cop-out, too. It's so lazy, and it's really irritating. It's, it's almost like if you question, what's his face, Johnson. If you don't like Mike Johnson, then you're anti-Christian, which is completely bullshit, of course. But Mamdani is, and this is what Dean Phillips saying. So they're saying, people are saying that we're sick of the elites. So this tweet, behind Zohran was the most voters in New York City primary history. These guys aren't just rejecting him, but the millions moved to electoral action by candidates like him. Maybe our big tent should have less millionaire Nepo heirs and more fighters for the millions of working class people. Because here's what Dean Phillips says.
Welcome people from different ideological, geographic perspectives. I think he used the example of you couldn't win a race in Ilhan Omar's district and she couldn't win a race in yours. Is there room for you and Mamdani in the Democratic Party?
I think it's a fine question. I think it's one that many Republicans have been asking about, whether there's room for traditional conservatives in a party now led by MAGA Republicans like Donald Trump.
We didn't ask you about
the answer
Republicans.
I think is no.
Eat my white Irish ass.
In fact, most Americans share a lot of the same values. But as a political party, yes, you want diversity. You want some
How dare you.
differences of opinion, perspective, life story, politics, and experience. But when you have socialists, in the Democratic Party, I don't know how anybody could argue that would be beneficial for the party or for the country. Therein lies the great challenge. Same thing on the right, Omar.
Son of a bitch.
Is MAGA the future of the Republican Party? If it is, there is going to be a new, grand, successful third party in America, because the overwhelming majority of Americans want neither far left or far right politics. They want decency, they want common sense, competency, and cooperation. And no party right now is elevating candidates who represent those ideals.
How dare you?
Example.
We're talking about FDR Democrats, and there goes this fake-ass Democrat, Dean Phillips, kicking Zohran Mamdani out of the party because he's a socialist. He's not a socialist. He's a democratic socialist. They know the difference. No one is talking about government taking over the means of production. Oh, and they go, then they'll conflate. Well, he wants government to take over supermarkets. No. That's another thing. I actually heard someone on the Stephanie Miller show say that. And it's bullshit. Mamdani is not talking about taking over just taking over supermarkets, government taking over supermarkets. He's talking about co-ops, government running a co-op in food desert areas in the city, which is a need that people want, that they want fulfilled. We're not talking about government doing everything, making your shoes, making your cars, assigning you apartment numbers and saying, okay, now you can live in apartment 1 and everyone has the same. Democratic socialism advocates for a political system where democracy is central. And the government ensures, and just for everybody who doesn't know, the government ensures the social and economic rights of the people. It doesn't ensure equal outcomes, but there is a strong social safety net where we can go get education, we can go to the doctor, we can take a vacation now and then, we can take a day off. We have freedom, the freedom to be human. That's what it means. And that's how the Democrats have to run on it. Not Democrats like so-called Democrats like Dean Phillips. He's not a Democrat. In my opinion, he's a corporatist. He's the problem. Yeah, socialism is a term that refers to an economic system where the means of production, factories, land, and industries, all corporations, are owned collectively by the people or the state. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about emulating societies that work, that have happiness, like the Scandinavian societies. Why wouldn't you want a happy society that works for all? The other thing I hear, and I heard it on a liberal talk show, I'll just leave it at that, where they were saying, arguing against Mamdani, saying that, well, you can't have democratic socialism because you pay a lot of taxes that they pay in the Scandinavian countries. That, well, you better be prepared to pay 50% in taxes. Well, it's sort of like if we went to these Scandinavian countries and tried to convince them to have our system, there would be riots because they come out ahead. We pay co-pays, deductibles. Hold on, here's the music for the end of the show. And the other hidden prices of being on your own without a social safety net. It's a lot more expensive. And we already pay high taxes. We pay over 35% of taxes. But anyway, it's really another search for the superior moral justification for selfishness. And anyway, thank you, Progressive Voices. I'll see you soon. Watch the end of the show at youtube.com/CFA channel/Tarabuster or the Political Voices Substack. And become a patron, patreon.com/TaraDevlin and all that stuff. All right, I'm back. Am I wrong? I don't think so. Anybody in the chat? Man, kid, what the dad shoes? You are killing it. WTF dad shoes? You're killing it. What? Another super how many super chat? You're going nuts here. You've done enough. Save it for yourself. That's how my mother would say it. Yay, dad shoes. Oh my god. We are not leaving, dad shoes says. F you, YouTube. Yes, that's true. And I'll go all night. Thank you, WTF dad shoes. My goodness. Let me know. Did you send me an email? Did you send me an email at the email's in the description of the show here. send me an email and I'll send you a mug, kid. You certainly earn it. If you want a mug. What the F, Dad Shoes? You really need a mug. Another super chat? That is like 10 super chats. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my God. Come on. You're making me blush here. Don't. I can't say don't send anymore, but take care of yourself. Oh my God. Another one. Are you losing it? Stop. No. You can't. You have to take care of yourself, too. I know. I want Dad Show's job, too. Dad Shoes. Don't overstress yourself, WTF Dad Shoes. I know. He just gave me like $300. I know. That's why I'm saying you gotta take care of yourself. That's enough, my friend. You've done enough for tonight. You are. No, I love you too. I love you too, and I really appreciate it. And I want to send you a mug. So send me an email, or contact me on the Discord. Send me your address. You deserve a mug in the very least, for God's sakes. For goodness sakes. I wish we had like 1 million of you Dad Shoes. Then I wouldn't have to e-beg all the time. I would have to, we would be set. Then we could like get a producer in here and all that. All right. Let's keep going. So anybody disagree with me about this guy? As far as, I'm not trying to bash Democrat. I mean, there's certainly enough of problems to talk about with and concerning the traitor Trump cult. But this is a problem too, in my opinion. These Democrats here bashing Mamdani, they don't even have the decency to congratulate him. And the fact that this guy, Dean Phillips, and others, of course, Fetterman, he's another one that was attacking him, but and Schumer, and what's her face, the other one, who's my other senator, Kristen Gillibrand, they didn't even congratulate him. And I'm annoyed at that. And I really do hope that I can't wait to vote for him. And I hope he wins. And Traitor Trump, they're all flipping out about it. As FDR said, judge me by my enemies. See, Mamdani, like FDR, he focuses on the needs of ordinary people rather than the elite. And that's what his campaign was focused on. His primary night victory speech, he talked about FDR's. He said FDR's analysis of the dangers of authoritarianism, and he, said that his win is proof that voters don't have to choose between freedom and fairness. That is right out of FDR's framing. See, I guess that Dean Phillips wouldn't like FDR, because a lot of very democratic socialist policies that actually built the middle class to begin with. The middle class didn't come about because a billionaire felt like trickling it on us one day. It came about because of government policy. Deliberate government policy that built the working class, that made the working class upwardly mobile, economically vibrant, that taxed the rich. At the time, at FDR's time, it was over 70% top marginal tax rate. That went up under Eisenhower, 90% top marginal tax rate, which people understood as a tax that made America great. You know, it's like the estate tax. We don't want an aristocracy in this country. We don't want a country where undeserving heirs inherit their fortunes tax-free. No, booby. You got to find your bootstraps too. But because of the top marginal tax rate, it didn't mean that you can't be rich. And people were rich. And FDR was one of them. That you could have a nice life and be rich, but you couldn't be that rich where you can reach out and control government itself, as FDR said. But here we are, right? I mean, what a turnabout. They really have succeeded. You know, these what did FDR call them? The economic royalists. It's the same system that he fought, but now they are successful. We're here in the new Gilded Age. And a lot of the American people, thanks to the propaganda that they are consuming, they think that this is normal. You know, nobody's telling them, not even, on the corporate media, because the corporate media is the problem. Half of the corporate media is pouring poison and misinformation into the empty heads of the Fox News victim/viewer. The other half, that's, I guess, they call the liberal media. It's not liberal at all. It's corporate media. It's pro-corporate. They're not, they're in that. This is what we should point out here, actually, with the corporate media, as we see with all of these big corporations bending over to, pay off Trump, basically. It's just like in the 20th century with the rise of the Third Reich, where corporations went hand in hand with the Nazis. They militarized and they built the Nazi war machine, and because they wanted to make money. They don't care what kind of system. In fact, fascism works out better for some of these corporations. They don't want to have to share. Who needs labor unions? Who needs an uppity working class majority that demands a seat at the table? And we see that, the likes of Zuckerberg and Bezos and, of course, Elon Musk, this horrible sociopath, Elon Musk, that they... And others, Paramount, all these other corporations that are simply giving Trader Trump what he wants in the hopes that they can make more money. But for who? Not for the workers. The workers are nothing. They're expendable. It's for the CEOs, the executives, the people at the top. And they'll do fine under whatever system, an authoritarian system. They would probably prefer it, truthfully. Because who needs a system that, like FDR had? A 35% unionized workforce? Where you had to... where your CEOs had to pay taxes. I mean, the CEO only made 50 times the lowest paid worker, not 450 times. It's ridiculous, right? It goes to show you that these corporate entities, they don't care. And the corporations that own the corporate media, they're not, they don't have the best interest of the American people. They're not doing their... civic duty in informing them. That's what we're doing. And the problem is, though, we, in a lot of ways, we're preaching to the choir. And this is the thing, and I've talked about it forever with the right wingers. It's a little different. the small YouTube channels that were on the right, their corporate, their rich benefactors, would pluck these people out of obscurity, basically, like Diamond and Silk, for example. Who the hell were Diamond and Silk? And all of a sudden, they're on Fox News, and then they're in the White House. And this is what the Republican machine did for them. And they weren't alone, especially for them, people like them. Anyone who was any kind of minority, the Republicans wanted to, elevate them because they're human shields for their bigotry. So, what's the other one? These horrible people like Candace Owens. Same thing. Tim Pool. Benny Johnson, literally funded by the Kremlin. These traitors. But also, Trump would be interviewed by them, and on big names and whatnot. So this is a big the fascist media apparatus is like it's like a circle jerk where they promote these small independent media voices because the likes of the people in the Heritage Foundation or the Koch brothers Foundation and all that. What's the name of their think tank? It's escaping me. But they fund these small people because they understood, and it goes back to like the Tea Party and all that, because they wanted, wherever the American people were, if you were going on YouTube, they wanted you to encounter the conservative, quote unquote, message. It's not conservative, of course, it's fascist. They wanted you to get the kiss up, kick down message of, we hate government and drown it in a bathtub. But you don't have that on the left. And of course, the corporate media, they're not going to put me on corporate media because I'm talking about them. They're the problem, the rich. So, no, they need to be taxed. Not that you can't be rich, but, maybe not so rich that you can fuck off to space while the rest of us have to fight over the scraps here on Earth. But the Democrats, as you see, and not all, but somebody like this guy, they don't see the problem, I suppose, as being the corporations. It's like they want to be. It's like the New Democrats. That's what it is. It's like when Clinton was in office, the New Democrats. What were they? They were Republican light. They were, well, we want that Wall Street money too. We want to be the party of Main Street and Wall Street. That was Obama too. He's another one. Don't get me going. Wall Street and Main Street rise and fall together. That used to drive me up a wall. No. Wall Street and Main Street don't rise and fall together. Wall Street's doing fine. Main Street is suffering and continues to. We keep slipping lower and lower on the ladder while Wall Street is running away with the bank. So, all you got to say is that the income disparity in the United States is wider than it was in ancient Rome. People don't understand that. Isn't that unbelievable to think about? And we live here. And so, most Americans think they're middle class. They're deluding themselves. No, you're not middle class. If you can't miss one paycheck and without having to go to a food bank, you're not middle class. If you can't go on a vacation, if you can't take a day off, if you fear your medical bills, you're not middle class. And I'm sorry, and Mamdani talking about, he's not saying he's a socialist. He's a democratic socialist like me. I'm a democratic socialist. I'm a goddamn card-carrying member. I self-identifies as a democratic socialist, and I'm really sick of it that these people, these fake-ass Dems, are doing exactly what the Republicans do. You know, why don't you inform people? But, okay, and it reminds me of this. I'll get off this Mamdani for now, because the last thing I want to talk about tonight, it kind of goes hand in hand. It's something that I wrote on the Political Voices Substack. And it's what Republicans do. But it's disappointing seeing Democrats do it as well. And I wrote this thing about the sanctuary cities, which this drives me up a wall. Hold on a second. As we know that the Republicans are at war with blue states, and you know they're the same, just like Dean Phillips. Socialism is tantamount to communism. It's everything. It's communism. It's socialism. It's fascism. It's everything that they don't like. Even though they're fascists, right? And they do this all the time. They never explain what a word is. Now, and the corporate media does it all the time. Like, for example, with socialism, they will never, they'll do a poll. They'll say, oh, the American people don't like socialism. Well, why don't you explain it? Do they like Medicare? Do they like Social Security? Do they believe in, basic human social safety net? Do they believe that we should have, child care? Should we have education assisted? How about public education? Why don't you phrase the questions like that? Could you imagine if any Democrat tried to pass Social Security today? How they would lose their effing minds, the filthy fascist Republicans and half the Democratic Party. Of course. But now it is as American as apple pie. Now all the Trumpanzees, hands off their Social Security, right? But they will never explain, though. They'll never say what instead they'll just assume. It's like a Rorschach test. You're just supposed to project whatever fears, whatever your fear and loathing onto the phrases. And one of those phrases that the Republicans use and the Democrats, for whatever reason, don't take a minute that it would take to explain. One of the phrases is sanctuary cities. Let me play this clip, and you'll see what I'm talking about, and we'll talk about it. Okay?
You're sheriff in town yourself, Tom Homan.
Eat shit.
These mayors are helping to foment the violence, and you can't listen to them. Nobody should listen to them.
Oh, shut up! Oh, these old white crackers. Please save us from them.
No, not only that. I'm going to head to Portland. I'm going out there. They're not going to bully us.
Take those marbles out of your mouth. Okay, before I get to the sanctuary city part, he's talking about ICE agents are being bullied. I'm going there. Because, these masked thugs who will not look well in history's light, by the way, as we know, and they're not looking too good in the present either. They're disgraceful, disgusting, and they will be the ignoble, there certainly won't be the heroes of the story, that's for sure. They should really be ashamed of themselves. But people aren't taking kindly to these masked thugs invading their communities and kidnapping people. That's what he's talking about. So they're encountering angry community members who are calling them Nazis and fascists and telling them that they should be ashamed. And according to Holman, that's bullying. The poor fascists are being victimized again, and that's right out of the fascist playbook.
I'm going to do the job. I'm going to do it in Portland too. But for the mayor of New York City and Chicago, President Trump made it clear 2 weeks ago. We're going to double down and triple down on sanctuary cities. Why? Not
Why?
because of blue. Because we know there are recent public safety threats to the streets every day. Like Florida, we agree with all the sheriffs in Florida. They're taking our detainers. They're not releasing illegal alien public safety threats. They're calling us. So we can spend less resources in Florida and send them to New York, to Chicago.
What is wrong with them?
LA. We're going to double down and triple down on sanctuary cities.
Really?
If we
Why?
arrest that bad guy in the jail, then we'll go to community and we'll find him.
Oh, okay. Okay, I have to stop this.
And when we do
How dare you? How dare you? You know what's so irritating, besides everything else, is that it goes to show you that Republicans don't have the best interests of their communities at heart. Sanctuary cities are safer cities. This is why I can't stand Republicans. And they vilify sanctuary cities, right? They act as if sanctuary cities are, or jurisdictions, I should say, that sanctuary jurisdictions are like, you know, it's like when you're playing tag. You know, I hit base, you can't catch me now, as if it's some kind of lawless zone. As long as you can make it to the sanctuary city, all your criminality is good to go. That is nothing further from the truth with these freaking pricks. I'm just looking at what the fuck dad shoes and all these super chats. God, you're killing me here. And thank you, Elise, for your super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. And thank you, what the fuck dad shoes. Oh, my Lord. You're going to keeping the show going and growing. But, okay, so let's, and, all right, sorry. I'm just blown away by all these super chats. You're killing me, kid. I don't even know what to say. You better send me an email with your address, because I need to send you a mug, for Christ's sakes. At least do something for you. So, here's the other thing. Okay, just like along with the fact that the Democrats why the American people don't immediately know that criminalizing abortion doesn't reduce the abortion rate. Why don't the American people know that sanctuary cities are safer cities than non-sanctuary cities? That it's not about creating a crime safe space for criminals, which is what the Republicans want you to believe. And it's not true. So if we want to follow Republican policies, we would make our cities less safe, because crime is up. The crime rate in sanctuary cities are lower than in non-sanctuary cities. And why? Because what is a sanctuary city? It simply is a city or a jurisdiction where local police do not work tantamount with federal authorities, and they don't ask papers, please, when someone calls the cops for assistance. If you're the victim of a crime or you are a witness, then you're free to call the police. You're free to not be a victim. You're free to, without fear, to call the police, knowing that a gang of masked thugs aren't going to show up and kidnap you and take you to an El Salvadorian gulag. multiple studies and statistical analysis, and not even just from left-wing sources. The Cato Institute study of sanctuary cities says there's no difference, there's no discernible increase in crime in sanctuary cities. In fact, evidence is to the contrary. Sanctuary policies increase, non-sanctuary policies increase crime because people don't want to report crimes. So you're not going to call the cops, the crime rate's going to go up. And the other thing is, the people in your communities, if they don't have their documentation, let's say, then they are now sitting ducks. They're victims. They become the victims of criminals who target them deliberately because they know that they won't be able to report their crimes. So multiple studies and analysis, they show that sanctuary cities are safer. In fact, they have lower crime rates compared to non-sanctuary cities. And that's why, how dare Stuart Varney and Holman, how dare these filthy fascist Republicans propose we're going after sanctuary cities. Now, you gotta, if you look at Republicans, as I do now, because you have to, if you want to really, pull the scales from your eyes, you have to look at the Republican Party for what they are. They are the domestic enemies the founders warned us about. Everything that they propose and that they are doing to this country is making our country less safe, the people of the country less safe. They're hurting the people of the country. They're causing needless suffering and death. And now they're going after blue states that keep the poorly run red states afloat. And they're going after policies that actually work. Sanctuary policies actually foster cooperation between the police and the communities. And that's why police chiefs in sanctuary counties are supportive of sanctuary city policies. It's so, to me, I don't understand how every Democrat, how every American doesn't know this. Why? Why wouldn't they know that? It's so easy to explain. It's so easy to understand. Yes, sanctuary cities are safer cities. The crime rate in sanctuary cities is lower than in non-sanctuary counties. But yet, there go the Republicans again, attacking successful policies that work, that keep people safe, that keep communities safe, that lower the crime rate. Jesus Christ, right? You have to think that, Tom Homan doesn't know this. Of course he does. So why would he want to strip communities of policies that make their cities safer, that reduce the crime rate? Why? Why would he be spreading this lie? Why would Stuart Varney? Well, that's because they don't like this country. They're trying to, I guess, make this country suck. Everything that they have done to this country in the past 5 months, they've made everything worse. They've ruined our good name around the globe. They have made it harder, for many Americans. I mean, they've fired hundreds of thousands of Americans, and more are coming every day. They're just purging the State Department today. I saw. Look at Texas. Everywhere that they inflict their policies, there's more suffering and death, that they take zero responsibility for it. And that just means that nothing will change. And then they go on Fox News or wherever else on their fascist propaganda outlets, and they spew lies. sanctuary cities. We're going to target them because they make it less safe. When that is the exact opposite. What makes communities less safe are Republican policies. Republicans have done so much harm to this country in such a short period of time. It's almost unbelievable. It's astonishing. And you got to think, you know, who are they pleasing? When your people suffer, when your allies are appalled, but the enemies of America are celebrating. You know, you got to think. Which side are you on, kid? Whose side is Tom Homan on? Does he care? You know, because the other thing is, these Stuart Varney and Tom Homan don't have to live in the consequences of their policies, of the shithole communities that their policies create. Oh, they'll disappear behind the walls of their gated communities. They'll be fine in the ivory towers that they live in. We have to live out here in the consequences of Republican policies. And sanctuary policies, in fact, here's the other thing, that this is what they because they lie to their victims / voters, that sanctuary policies do not, in fact, prevent law enforcement from prosecuting crimes. And if you are an undocumented immigrant or someone who is undocumented or whatever, and you commit a crime in a sanctuary county, that doesn't mean you don't get deported. It means you do get deported. It means you get arrested and then you get deported. All it means is that if you are the victim of a crime, that if you encounter local police and you don't have your, they're not going to ask you for your papers, please. That if you're a witness to a crime, that you can come forward. So that makes your community safer. So I'm feeling a lot safer in a sanctuary county. If something happens to me, if I'm the victim of a crime, God forbid, or Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, where there's an undocumented person that sees, and they're not afraid to jump in and get involved because they know they're not going to be deported for it. It actually fosters trust in communities. But in non-sanctuary counties, that doesn't exist. It's unbelievable. And the Republicans, they say that sanctuary policies allow some people to avoid immigration consequences, federal immigration consequences. This is not true in the least. I mean, how easy is that to explain? And I just did it in less than 10 minutes, right? Sanctuary cities are safer cities. They foster trust and cooperation. It doesn't mean you can get away with a crime. It just means that if you are the victim of a crime or witness a crime, you can interact with the police without fear that they're going to deport you. And therefore, here's the numbers. We have the stats. Sanctuary cities are 35%. Where is that? I saw that just now. I lost it. It's 35% lower crime rate on average than in non-sanctuary counties. But, I guess Republicans don't like that. They hate when we're successful. They hate when people are safe and communities are fostered on trust and cooperation, right? Because they don't like America. I hate to tell you, but we will win because we're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you for hanging out on Friday nights. We are here every Friday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time at the Tarabuster YouTube channel. I'm going to lower that a little bit. And the Tarabuster, well, and the Political Voices Substack. And I'm just going to do some more plugs. Because what the F Dad Shoes is going crazy with the super chats over at the YouTube channel. Thank you, WTF Dad Shoes. I hope you'll be here every Friday. No pressure. I'm only kidding. You don't have to do that again. But send me an email and you could send me something on the Discord if that works better, a message or whatnot, and I will send you a mug. Oh, you're great. I love this woman. I'll be back. I love you. I love you. What was I saying? So, okay. This Tuesday, the Tara Show, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be another good one. Last Thursday, if you haven't watched, we had E. Jean Carroll on the show, and she's amazing. If you haven't seen it, check out the Political Voices Substack or the Political Voices YouTube channel. Link in the description. And check out E. Jean. She's amazing. See, she's got courage. What's wrong with you, Mike Johnson? I'll put the link in the chat too. So, but this coming Tuesday, 2 p.m., Joe Walsh, former Republican, now registered Democrat, is going to be on the Tara Show on with myself and Tara Dublin. And I want to talk to him about some of the stuff we talked about tonight, like the media. How, because he believes that we have to get together and we have to talk to each other and we're too divided. Well, we're divided because of the media, the Telecommunications Act of 96. There's been studies done too. I should get that study. We should go over it one day. There's a study that goes back to the, let me see if I can find, I can't do it now because I'm tired. Let's see. Study. Hi, Boudica. Come in. People want to see you. People want to see you, Booty. Look at her. Look at the baby. Look at the baby. She doesn't like being picked up. She is her own woman. I am woman. Hear me roar. Hello, Boudica. All right. In numbers too great to ignore. All right, let me see. Hold on. Study that. Let's see. Divide. Do I have this study somewhere? I think I do. Divided country. Telecommunications Act of 1996. Yeah. No, it's not giving it to me. All right, I'll find it. Yeah, no, there's a study. I should dig it up and we should go over it one day. One day soon. That says that we could trace the divisions in the country to the Telecommunications Act. And it is true. Hey. I didn't need a study to show it, but because we've been talking about it. But that's why it drives me up a wall when the corporate media, they'll say, why are we so divided? You don't be so stupid. Don't be so stupid. Don't play dumb, corporate media. If I know, you know. Twisted Nerves Painty says, Amunet. I'm sorry, I can't. Sometimes words are hard. Amunet, your cat, is like that. Hates being picked up, but loves to jump onto you. It's true. Boudica's like that. She never liked it, even when she was a little baby booty. When she was the littlest of all booties, there she was. See? How cute. Look at her. She was the babiest of all Boudicas. and I had to keep her. She was a keeper. All right. Guys, thank you for hanging out tonight. And I hope to see you next week on Friday. This is what we do on Friday nights. We hang out. Tarabuster YouTube channel, youtube.com/c4channel/Tarabuster, and the Political Voices Substack. Tell your friends about the Political Voices Substack, and like and subscribe and all that stuff. And I have a Substack. Tara Dublin has a Substack. Yes. And Boudica does not have a Substack, but she should. I should have a Substack. See, if we were, I mean, for her, if we were living in a functioning society that wasn't, and we weren't fighting fascism, I say this all the time, you know, that's what we would be doing. We would be having a show about cats or something like that, you know? Talk about normal things. That's the whole thing, right? You know, that's why people stormed the beaches of Normandy, so we wouldn't have to fight fascism. I just want to show you another cute picture before I go of Spooky. Spooky, my little guinea pig. Look at him. I need a manicure, as you can see. Look at Spooky. He was in the kitchen because I was giving him a sponge bath. He's so cute. All right. Oh, what happened there? The camera didn't like that. All right, I know. Twisted Nerves Painting says, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell a Substack even is. Me too, in a way. It's good, though. It's like Twitter, too. Everybody's on it. You should at least make an account for yourself. So, and you could post things, and you should. All right, guys, listen, I gotta go. I'm tired. I need to get unconscious. Thank you for hanging out. Remember, Tuesday at the Political Voices Substack and YouTube channel for the Tara Show with myself and Tara Dublin, we will be interviewing Joe Walsh. Or he'll be joining us. And I got a lot of questions. Ken says, what's the Discord? I think it's in the link in the description. Let me make sure. It's there. It is there. Let me see. Beep, beep, beep. Copy. Let me copy it and make sure it is working. Yes, it's working. I'll put it. Oh, thank you, Jim. You got it right there. I'll put it in the. I will also put it in the Substack. And become a patron at patreon.com/Tara Devlin. That's in the description. All right, my friend. Oh, I see you there. Nice to see you, Ken, on the Discord. All right, kids. We need to get some life on that Discord. It's really just Twisted Nerves Painting and myself posting cat pictures. But it's good too. Thank you for joining, and we could, you could reach out and say hello on there. All right, my friends, listen, you guys are great. We will win because we are on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity, but we got a lot of work to do. We stick together, we win. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. We'll be here next Friday, of course, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And Tuesday, I will see you with myself and Tara Dublin at the Political Voices Network, Substack, and YouTube channel. And, yeah, in the meantime, stay safe. Have a great weekend. Subscribe to my Substack and Dublin Substack, because we're just independent media people. But in the meantime, I do a lot of writing and make videos over at the Substack for Political Voices, so that's good too. Just trying to find this. Where the heck? I have so many windows open. I lost my eCam. I'm trying to close the show, but I can't because I can't find it. Beep, 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 beep. Where's my cats? All right. I wish Boudica wasn't such a person who didn't like to be picked up. All right, my friends. Thank you, and thank you, WTF Dad Shoes, for your monumental, memorable super chat storm tonight. Commander Bond says that he will listen tomorrow when I'm doing yard work at my mom's. Say hi to your mom, my friend, and thank you. And I will see you guys. And thank you, Jim, for being a moderator, of course. And Jim is also a moderator at the Tara Show, so thank you for that too, guys. And thank you, everybody. Stay safe, and I will see you on Tuesday.